So let us first discuss the limits of our trigo functions or your trigonometric functions. Take note that trigo functions or trigonometric functions are real functions which relate an angle of a right angle triangle to radius of two sides lengths. So therefore, to demonstrate that definition, we have a right triangle. Okay, right triangle which has consequently a theta. So take note that theta can be expressed as our sine theta, which is equal to our opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse. So opposite over hypotenuse from SOHCAHTOA, our cosine theta can be represented as adjacent over hypotenuse, and our tangent theta can be represented by the side of triangle as opposite over adjacent. So take note that there are the different trigonometric identities that you would need to apply in order to mathematically evaluate the values of the functions or of your trigo functions. So before we would solve the limits of trigo functions, I would like to introduce to you the different theorems that is involved in your trigo functions. The first theorem is our limit of sine u over u as u approaches 0 is always equal to 1. This can be proved by substituting any value of u which is approximately equal to 0. Let's say 1 times 10 raised to negative 10. Okay. Next is the limit of our 1 minus cos u divided by u as u approaches 0 is also equal to 0. So this prepositions or this theorem will help you in evaluating our limits of trigo functions. So the geometric proof of sine u over u will be uploaded separately to this video. So let us use our theorem of our trigo functions in solving different exercises of limits. So let's say our first exercise will be the limit of sine 3x divided by sine 2x as x approaches 0. So there are two methods or there are two solutions, mathematical solutions that I would like to present to you. Yung first solution natin guys would be yung identity of your sine 3x, the additional rules, angle addition rules, and other identities of our trigonometric functions. So first, take note na the first theorem requires us to have a function equal to the limit of sine u over u as u approaches 0 is equal to 1. Okay, in order to demonstrate this example, first I would need to have a value or change this variable into a functions that is or that can be solvable in terms of this function, okay, or this theorem. So anong gagawin natin? Probably manipulate natin yung equation natin. By manipulating this equation, we will have sine 3x divided by sine 2x, tama? So therefore, we will manipulate this equation. Take note that we should have a value with this, okay? But for me, I would first solve this by using my addition method of angle or addition identity of my angle which is your sine A plus B, which is equal to our sine A cosine A, sine A cosine B plus our cos A sine B, tama? So therefore, how will I do this? So first, take note that 3x can be rewritten into sine 2x plus 1. Alright? So therefore, my A will be 2x and my B will be my x pa. Okay? So because 2x plus x is equal to 3x, tama? So therefore, we can have the value of our sine A, which is sine 2x, cosine B, which is cosine x, plus our cosine 2x sine x. Okay? So after evaluating this term, so therefore I may substitute it to my function because they are just equal, tama? Because sine 2x plus x is equal to sine 3x. So therefore we'll have a value of sine 2x cosine x plus cosine 2x sine x divided by my sine 2x. So by further manipulation of this equation, we will have a value of sine 2x cosine x divided by my sine 2x plus cosine 2x sine x divided by sine 2x. Take note that this can be written into this one, okay? So by manipulating, I can see that I have a similar value, right? So ito. So sine 2x divided by sine 2x, any value divided by its value is equal to 1, right? So therefore, we'll have a value equal to cosine 2x. So cancel out, magiging 1 yan. So meron tayong cosine x. Okay? So plus. So we can re-evaluate again this sine 2x from our double angle formula. Okay? So which have sine 2x from double angle formula is equal to 2 sine x cosine x, which can be derived from here if A is equal to B, right? So dito, this is A is equal to B because it can be rewritten into sine multiplied by sine x plus x. Okay? So if we would substitute this a value of A and this will be substitute value of B, we'll get to this value. Okay? So therefore we'll have, so let us substitute already. Substitute natin. So we'll have cosine 2x sine x divided by, so dito 2 sine x cosine x. So cancelling your x, yan, because sine x divided by sine x is equal to 1. So we'll have the equation or simplified equation cosine x plus cosine 2x all over 2 cosine x. So let's get the limit of this one. So take note that this equation or this function is similar to this function. Yun lang yung simplified function natin. So getting the limit of this equation or this function as x approaches 0, so we'll have a value of cosine 0 plus cosine 0 divided by 2 cosine 0. So 0 multiplied by 2 to okay? So cosine 0 is equal to 1 plus 1/2, which is equal to 3/2. Okay? That is our first solution. Second solution is by applying this theorem. Okay? So take note that u is any value of ax. U is equal to nx, where x is any variable, nn is any constant, right? So therefore, we may say that your sine 3x over sine 2x can be rewritten into that way. So how? How? Yun yung tanong. So let's have our solution number 2. Of the limit of our sine 3x over sine 2x as x approaches 0. Okay? So how will we do it? Always take note that we have the form of theorem, which is the limit of sine u over u as x approaches 0 is equal to 1. So, ano yung multiply mo dito sa 3x para magkaroon siya ng value which is equal to 1, right? Diba we have a value of 1 all over 3x, but take note that we have a value of 1 over 3x also. Okay, so this is equal to 1, right? Which is equal to 1. Any number divided by 1 over 3x divided by 1 over 3x is equal to 1. So what else? Okay, so meron tayong matitirang 2x pag sakali. So therefore, you must also multiply a value that would constitute to sine 2x all over 2x, okay, in order to have a value equal to 1. So therefore, let's try multiply 1 again. So therefore, we'll have a value of 1 over 2x divided by 1 over 2x. Okay, so this will be our second multiplicand. Okay, so by further manipulation of this equation, we'll have a value of sine 3x divided by 3x multiplied by 1/2 x, right, divided by, so sine 2x all over 2x multiplied by 1 over 3x. So getting the limit of this one as x approaches 0, so therefore we have the limit of sine 3x over 3x as x approaches 0 multiplied by the limit of our, so probably x divided by x is equal to 1, so the limit of 1/2 as x approaches 0 divided by the limit of sine 2x over 2x as x approaches 0 multiplied by to 1/3, tama, the limit of 1/3 as x approaches 0. So take note that this equation or this theorem refers to our first theorem of our limit sine u over u, which is equal to 1, right? So therefore we'll have a value equal to 1 divided by 1, so multiplied by 1/2 divided by 1/3. So you'll have the value equal to 3/2. So they are similar. Okay? So, siyempre, yung third solution natin, solution number 3, of course, our graphical rule we're in, u is approximately equal to a, which is approximately equal to 0. So therefore we have 0.000000001. Okay, so we'll have a value equal to approximately equal to 3/2, right? So let's have our example number 2. We have the limit of tan 4x divided by 3x as x approaches 0. So how will we solve this one? So probably, as I have said, you can use some different identities or simply use our theorem. Okay, so in this notation, take note that tan 4x, or let's say tan u, is equal to sine u over cos u. Okay, so therefore by manipulating this equation, you will have a value of sine 4x divided by cosine 4x divided by 3x, which can be written as sine 4x divided by cosine 4x multiplied by 1/3 x. Okay, so therefore it is sine 4x divided by 3x cosine 4x, right? So how do we solve this? So as I have said, go back to our first theorem of limit, wherein we have sine u over u as the limit of u approaches 0. So let's have this type or form of a function. Okay, so what can we do? So just multiply 1, which consequently this one is equal to 4 over 4, or 1/4 divided by 1/4. Okay, so therefore we'll have a value equal to sine 4x divided by 3x cosine 4x multiplied by 1/4 multiplied by 1/4. So therefore we'll have a value equal to sine 4x divided by 3x multiplied by 4, okay, multiplied by our cosine 4x divided by 4, right? So therefore, by further manipulation of this equation, you will see that we have sine 4x, so rearrange ko lang, divided by 4x multiplied by 3, so multiplied by cosine 4x. So itong divided by 4 tatasan natin, so multiplied by 4, right? So therefore we'll have a value of, or we will get the limit of sine 4x multiplied by 4 divided by 4x multiplied by 3 cosine 4x as x approaches 0, right? So therefore we'll have a value equal to 2. So let us consider this. So knowing that the limit of sine 4x divided by 4x as x approaches 0, so by multiplication properties of this limit, so pwede lang natin labas ito kasi from our second rule of limit, so divided by our limit of cosine 4x as x approaches 0. So therefore we'll have a value equal to 4/3 multiplied by, so this is theorem to, tama? So multiplied by 1 divided by limit of cosine 4x, so cosine 0 is equal to 1. So therefore the value of this function or the limit of this function is equal to 4/3. Alright, so to check the equation or the answer, just substitute the value approximately equal to 0, which is approximately equal to 0.000001 or 1 times 10 raised to negative 10. So we'll have a value approximately equal to 4/3. Okay, that is our second example. So let's have another example. So if we have the limit of 1 minus cosine x divided by 4x squared as x approaches 0. So how will calculate it? Practically, pwede mong calculate yun gamit yung x approximately equal to 0. But probably, I would prefer you to calculate first using our mathematical method in calculation of these limits to the function. So therefore, let's solve the problem. So this should be the solution. Okay, so actually this 1 minus cosine x over 4x squared can be modified into various forms. So by first, let's evaluate our function. Okay, so let's have 1 minus cosine x divided by 4x squared. So by multiplying 1, let's say our 1 is equal to the positive value or the positive sign for 1 minus cosine x. So we have 1 plus cosine x divided by 1 plus cosine x. Okay, so after getting or having this value, we can calculate our solution. Yung objective kasi natin is to have the function or the equation into a value or solvable value by our theorems, which is the limit of sine u over u as u approaches 0 is equal to 1. Okay, yan yung gusto kong diskarte natin, or pwedeng yung limit of 1 minus cosine u over u as u approaches 0 is equal to 0. Okay, so these are the functions that we would want to produce. So therefore, in order to go to this theorem, so let us manipulate these equations. Okay, so knowing that this is 1, okay, so therefore I will substitute this value to our 1 because they are equal. Okay, so therefore we'll have a value of 1 minus cosine x divided by 4x squared multiplied by 1 plus cosine x divided by 1 plus cosine x. Okay, so why is it that I would want to have the positive sign and not the negative sign? As I have said, a squared minus b squared, which is equal to a minus b, multiplied by a plus b, is very useful in calculating any problem, especially in our trigonometric functions, because I would want to introduce to you the Pythagorean identity of our trigonometric functions. So take note, meron tayong tinatawag na hexagonal plane. Okay? So if you would want to master some of the identities, you should know how to use your hexagonal plane, wherein we have our sec, tan, sin, cosec, cotan, cosine. Okay? And at the center of this hexagonal plane is 1. Right? So you can see, using this hexagonal plane, you can use it in its inverse function, reciprocal function niya. So yung reciprocal ng secant is equal to 1 over cosine. The reciprocal of sine is equal to 1 over cosecant. The reciprocal of tan is equal to 1 all over cotangent. And by using its Pythagorean value, okay, so we have, if you would square sine square plus cosine square, it is equal to 1. Okay, so if you would add tan square plus 1, we'll have a value of secant squared. So if you have a value of 1 plus cotan squared, we'll have a value of cosecant squared. Okay, so you can see the value of it in this example. So after knowing, or after identifying the objective of the calculation, so therefore let's just calculate. So therefore we'll have a value of 1 minus cosine squared x. So from a squared minus b squared, special product, so divided by 4x squared multiplied by 1 plus cosine x. So bakit cosine x yung nasa baba? Actually, hindi na to maging indeterminate. Practically, pag nag-substitute ka kasi ng 0 dito, sinubstitute natin agad yung 0 dito, we'll have a value of 1 minus 1 divided by 4 minus 0 squared. So we have a 0 over 0, which is indeterminate. So therefore, kailangan natin siyang i-manipulate into an equation na we can actually solve the value of the limit as x approaches 0. Okay? So upon this, we have this equation. But as I have said, what is 1 minus cosine squared x? So take note that from this Pythagorean rule, you can see that sine squared x plus cosine squared x is equal to 1. So therefore, we may say that sine squared x is equal to 1 minus cosine squared x, which correspond to this identity. Alright? So therefore, we may say that we have a value of sine squared x divided by 4x squared multiplied by 1 plus cosine x. Okay? So upon knowing this one, we can actually calculate it by using this theorem. Okay? So yun yung magiging objective at objective nyo. Imply this theorem. So in order to solve any problem, you must have a plan in solving it, wherein yung plan natin is to imply this theorem. Okay, or this theorem in any function that is in the problem or in the equation. So from this, you can see that we can imply this function. Okay, sine squared x divided by x squared. So take note that this function can be rewritten into the limit of, so pwede nating ilabas yon from our second rule ng ating limit. So 1/4 multiplied by sine x multiplied by sine x, because it is just equal to sine x squared. So divided by x multiplied by x, so multiplied by 1 plus cosine x. Okay, so distributive property ng ating limit, so we'll have a value of 1/4 multiplied by the limit of sine x over x as x approaches 0 multiplied by multiplication rule natin, the limit of sine x over x as x approaches 0 multiplied by the limit of 1 all over 1 plus cosine x as x approaches 0, right? So from this you can already see our theorem of limits. Okay, so ito yun. Ito tama. Okay, so therefore by further manipulation of this limit we'll have a value of 1/4 multiplied by 1 multiplied by 1 multiplied by 1 all over 1 plus cosine 0 is equal to 1, right? So plus 1, so we'll have a value equal to 1/4 multiplied by 1 multiplied by 1/2, which is equal to 1/8. Okay, so yung objective nyo lang pa guys, no, bago kayo mag-solve ng any problem, be sure you have your objective, so may pupuntahan kayo. Okay, so next example guys, let's have the limit of x squared plus 4x divided by sine 2x as x approaches 0. So as I have said, there are so many ways to kill a chicken. So what would be our first way? Yung first way natin probably is this one. We have, okay, so kaya ng ibang ways, no? So pwede natin i-manipulate yung equation na to into x squared all over sine 2x from the rule of your fractions plus 4x all over sine 2x. Alright, so take note that our objective talaga is to go to, because of this x approaches 0, is to have a function that is equal to this one, or a function or a limit equal to this theorem. Okay, so this is a function na gusto natin mangyari, or a theorem na gusto natin mangyari. Okay, so therefore yun yung pinaka-objective natin, i-manipulate natin yung equation into a term equal to these equations. Okay, so in this we have x squared over sine 2x. Take note that sine 2x, so as I have said in our previous discussion, this can be rewritten into 2 sine x cosine x. Ito yung tinatawag nating double angle identity, plus our 4x over sine 2x. So these limits can be manipulated into x multiplied by x divided by 2 sine x cosine x plus 2 multiplied by 2x, alright, all over sine 2x, because of this value u. Our u here is equal to 2x. Okay, so therefore we'll have our other u here is equal to x. Okay, so therefore pwede nating sabihin that we have x divided by 2. So take note that this can be rewritten into x can be rewritten into 1 all over 1 over x. Tama? Okay, so therefore we will write it as 2 sine x cosine x divided by 1 over x. So it's just a matter of manipulating the equation based on the properties of these algebraic equations, or based on the laws of mathematical calculations. So also this can be written into 1 all over 1 over 2x, kasi pa pwede mo siyang itaas, magiging 2x siya. Okay, so therefore we'll have a value of 2 divided by our sine 2x all over 2x. Right, so from this we will have a value equal to x divided by 2 sine x all over x multiplied by our cosine x plus 2 all over sine 2x over 2x. Alright, yan. So kunin natin yung limit niya ngayon. So getting the limits of this whole function that is equal earlier to this function. Okay, ito lang yung manipulated equation niya as x approaches 0. It may be simplified or hindi, basta yung diskarte mo nandun. Okay, so therefore we'll have the limit of x divided by the limit of, so pwede natin ilabas yung dito, sine x over x as x approaches 0 multiplied by the limit of cosine x as x approaches 0, so plus 2 the limit of sine 2x all over 2x as x approaches 0. Alright, so therefore we'll have a value equal to the limit of 0, so as x approaches 0 divided by 2 multiplied by 1 plus 2 divided by 1. So therefore we'll have a value later on equal to 2. So take note guys that if you would considerably substitute 0 into our equation, you can see that it is equal to 0 plus 4 multiplied by 0 divided by sine 0 is equal to 0, so therefore it is indeterminate. Alright, so that's the reason that kaya natin ini-evaluate yung ating equation, because of the indeterminate form, which can be expandable or get its simplest form. So upon getting the expanded form or expanded or simplest form, we can get the value of the limit without having this issue indeterminate or without any zero in our denominator. Pero pag may zero pa rin at the simplest form, positive naman nito sa taas, so therefore that is indeterminate, so limit of any value divided by 0 is equal to infinity. Okay, so that is our fifth example. So for our example, final example for our trigonometric functions, the limits of three trigonometric functions. So let's have the limit the limit of 4x squared divided by 1 minus cosine squared x over 2. So take note that your u here is equal to x over 2. And always remember that if there are trigonometric functions, you must also master the different identities and properties of this trigonometric function. Yan. So therefore, we all know the Pythagorean theorem nito is cosine squared u plus sine squared u ng ating trigonometric function is equal to 1. So as you can see that sine squared u is equal to 1 minus cosine squared u. Okay, so in the sense that it is similar to our denominator. So therefore take note that this is approaching 0, right? So always our objective natin pag may mga ganyan is to have a value of the limit of sine u over u as you approach 0 equals 1, the limit of our cosine u, 1 minus cosine u over u as you approach 0 is equal to 0, and of course the limit of tan u over u as you approach 0 is equal to 1. So ito lang mga objective forms natin in order to evaluate our limit faster and efficient, easier. Okay, so let us manipulate this equation, right? So you'll have, since we all know that this can be equal to sine squared u or sine squared x over 2, therefore let's try it. So we'll have 4x squared divided by sine squared x over 2, right? But the problem is, take note that we have much similar u, okay, and our u here is equal to x over 2. So how will we do this? Since we would have, or we would want a form sine u over u, so therefore mag-multiply ka lang ng 1, tama? 1 lang naman yung i-multiply natin, or in this one we'll have the form this form. So take note that we can multiply 1 all over x over 2 divided by 1 all over x over 2, tama? Okay, so therefore by multiplying 1, so we'll have a value equal to 4x squared divided by sine squared x over 2 multiplied by 1 all over x over 2 divided by 1 all over x over 2. Okay, but wait, take note that it is in squared. So kailangan natin ng dalawang ganito para magkaroon tayo ng function na ganito. So the first squared to, take note that it is also equal to 1, right? So therefore we will have a value equal to 4x squared multiplied by 1 all over x squared all over 4, tama ba? Divided by sine squared multiplied by x over 2 multiplied by 1 all over x squared over 2 squared, right? So now by further evaluation of this limit, you will have a value equal to, so tataas to magiging 16, cancelling out your x squared because x squared divided by x squared is equal to 1. So divided by sine x over 2 divided by x over 2 multiplied by sine x over 2 divided by x over 2. Alright, so by getting the limit of the function, so getting the limit of this one, so you'll have a value of 16 divided by sine x over 2 divided by x over 2 multiplied by sine x over 2 divided by x over 2. So by division and then multiplicand rule and then your constant rule will have a value of, so take note that this is approaching 0. The limit of 16 as x approaches 0 divided by the limit of sine x over 2 all over x over 2 as x approaches 0 multiplied by the limit of sine x over 2 divided by x over 2 as x approaches 0 is equal to 16 divided by 1 multiplied by 1. So we have a value of 16. Okay, so that would be the limit of the function. 16 guys, 16. Okay, so maybe you will try the value ng function natin which is approximately equal to 0. Okay, but probably maybe you will have wrong answer. Okay, so mag 0 yan. Okay, so the answer is 16. Okay, the limit of exponential function. So these exponential functions are functions which has real numbers which has an exponent of a function. Let's say we have b raised to f of x, wherein b is any number and f of x is an equation. So finding the limit of exponential function is similar to that of finding the limit of algebraic functions discussed in the previous week. So if you would get this limit, the limit of our b raised to x, as our x approaches a, so we'll have a value of b equals a. Therefore, we may say that the limit of b raised to f of x is equal to, as x approaches a, can be equal to b raised to the limit of f of x as x approaches a. So provided that b is greater than 0 and b is not equal to 1. So let's have our example number 1. So guys, yung pagkuha natin ng limit ng exponential function, parang pagkuha lang din natin ng algebraic. Okay? So i-apply lang natin yung theorem wherein the limit of exponential function is equal to b raised to x, wherein b raised to f of x, wherein you will get the limit of f of x, yung naka-raise sa b. Okay? So let's have our first example to explain the theorem. So if we have our limit of 4 raised to x minus 1 divided by 2 raised to x minus 1 as x approaches 0, you'll see that any number raised to 0 is equal to 1. Okay? So if you would substitute the value of 1 of 0 directly to our equation, you will see that we have 4 raised to 0 minus 1 divided by 2 raised to 0 minus 1 is equal to 1 minus 1 divided by 1 minus 1, which is equal to 0 over 0, which is by equation or by answer of our limits, it's indeterminate. Okay, indeterminate, sorry. Okay? So therefore, since that is indeterminate, let us find ways to make it or to have the value of the limit of this function. So recall our exponential equations, kung paano ba nangyari yung mga exponents natin. Okay, so we'll know that a multiplied by a raised to m multiplied by a raised to n is just equal to a m plus n. Tama. We also know that b raised to m multiplied by a raised to n is just equal to b raised to n multiplied by a raised to n. Okay? And also we all know that a raised to m divided by a raised to n is just equal to a raised to m minus n. And also b raised to m divided by b raised to n a raised to n is equal to b raised to m multiplied by a raised to negative n. Okay? So yan yung mga iba't ibang functions natin. Also, we all know that a raised to m multiplied by a raised to m is just equal to a raised to 2m. I-add lang natin yung exponent nya. Okay? And also a raised to this can be rewritten into a raised to m squared. Okay? So nakalabas yung ito. So tanggalin natin. So rewrite natin a raised to m squared. Okay? Naulit yung parenthesis. Ayan. Pwede mong i-write ng ganyan yan. Okay? So therefore from this 4x minus 1 all over 2x. So we can write your 4 into, we can simply manipulate this equation, okay, into 2 raised to x multiplied by 2 raised to x, okay, minus 1 all over 2 raised to x minus 1. Okay, so from that we may say that this is 2, so 2a, 2 raised to x plus x is equal to 2x minus 1 divided by 2 raised to x minus 1. So from there we can say that 2 raised to 2x minus 1 can be factorable into 2 raised to x squared minus 1 all over 2x minus 1. Okay, so therefore, since we have this factor, we can go back to our equation. A plus b multiplied by a minus b is equal to a squared minus b squared. Tama? So therefore, we may say that we have a value equal to 2x minus 1 multiplied by 2x plus 1 by our rule in special products. So divided by 2 raised to x, 2 raised to x minus 1 multiplied by 2 raised to x plus 1, 2 raised to x plus 1, 2 raised to x minus 1. Okay, so dito natin lalagay sa baba para mas klaro. So therefore we'll have a value of 2 raised to x minus 1. Okay, so from this you can see that we will cancel out there, because 2 raised to x minus 1 divided by 2 raised to x minus 1 is equal to 1. So we'll have a value of 2 raised to x plus 1. Okay, so by further evaluating this limit, we'll have a value equal to the limit of 2 raised to x plus 1 as x approaches 0 is equal to 2 raised to 0 plus 1. So we'll have 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. Okay, so recap natin, no? So 4 raised to x can be rewritten into 2 raised to x squared. Okay, which was I identified as this step. Okay, and then you will see that it can be rewritten from here. Okay, so from that we may say that this is this is solvable by special product rule, wherein with the twist of our logarithmic and exponential adding of our exponents, okay, and multiplying our exponent, and then after that we can see that this 2 raised to x minus 1 divided by 2 raised to x minus 1 is equal to 1. So after manipulating the equation even more, we have our equation 2 raised to x plus 1, and then letting your x is equal to 0, wherein our limit would say, so therefore makakuha ka ng value ng 2 raised to 0 plus 1 is equal to 1 plus 1 divided by 1 plus 1, which is equal to 2. Okay, so let's solve our example number 2. So let's say we have the limit of 1 minus 2 multiplied by 3 raised to x plus 9 raised to x divided by 1 minus 9 raised to x as the limit of x approaches 0. So from this, if we would substitute the value of x directly dito sa equation natin, you will see that we'll have a value equal to 1 minus 2 multiplied by 3 raised to 0 plus 9 raised to 0 divided by 1 minus 9 raised to 0. So technically we will have a value of 1 minus, this is just 1 and 1. So 1 minus 2 plus 1 divided by 1 minus 1, which is equal to 0 divided by 0, or indeterminate. Indeterminate. So since it is indeterminate, ang gagawin natin is let us find if the equation is or can be simplified. Okay? Or pwede natin expand kung pwede, mas makatulong siya sa diskarte natin. Okay? So from this, let's go back to our binomial theorem or our special product rules, wherein we have our a plus b squared is equal to a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So also we have our a minus b squared is equal to a squared plus minus 2ab plus b squared. Okay? So, and also, syempre hindi natin kakalimutan yung a squared minus b squared natin, which is equal to a minus b multiplied by a plus b. Alright? So, from this guys, you can see, knowing this special products is an advantage, especially in choosing whatever method you would use. Okay? So sa akin, ito yung gagamitin ko. Why? Because basically for me, if I will get the square root of 1, we have a value of 1. Okay? So if I will get the value or the square root of 1, I will have my 1. Okay, 1 pa rin. If I would get the square root of 9, we have 3. We have 3. Okay? 3 raised to x. Okay? So paano nangyari yun? Basically because 9 can be rewritten into 3 squared multiplied by x. Okay? So pag kinuha mo yung square root nyan, you will have a value equal to 3 raised to x. Alright? So from there, I can already determine my a and my b. Okay? So therefore from this, since negative 2, I can say that this has a value of a minus b squared. Okay? So therefore, in the process of my simplification, I will remember that from our rules in our our exponential multiplication, that bakit hindi 6 to? Because we have 2 raised to 1 multiplied by 3 raised to x. Take note, in order to multiply your 2 raised to 1 and 3 raised to x, they should have the same base. Okay? Or value nito sa constant natin. But since 2 and 3 are different prime numbers, therefore you cannot multiply them directly. So therefore 2 multiplied by 3 raised to x is not equal to 6 raised to x. Okay? So kahit gawitin nyo pa yung calculator nyo, mag-substitute kayo ng value ng x. Ang 2 raised to 3, let's say x is equal to 2. Ang 2 raised to 3 squared is equal to 18. Samantalang pag 6 squared is equal to 36. So therefore, this term is not the same. So therefore, pag hindi parehas yung ito mo, yung constant mo o yung base mo, therefore you cannot multiply them or you cannot add their exponent. Okay? So from that, we have our a which is equal to 1 and our b which is equal to 3 raised to x. So by processing the equation, I may now say that the simplification of this limit can be 1 minus 3 raised to x multiplied by 1 minus 3 raised to x. Tama? Kasi mapupunta lang tayo sa 1 minus 3x squared. Okay? So 1 minus 3 raised to x squared, which can be rewritten into this one. Right? And next is our special product. So we have 1 minus 3 raised to x multiplied by 1 plus 3 raised to x. Okay? So saan galing yan? Probably special product rule. Yung a natin will be a and our b will be 3 raised to x. Okay? So, after that, okay, so you can see that we will divide your 1 minus 3x multiplied by 1 minus 3x divided by 1 minus 3x. 1 minus 3 raised to x multiplied by 1 plus 3 raised to x. So, cancelling out this equation because they are equal, which is equal to 1. Cancelling out, which means that they are equal to 1. So, therefore, we'll have a value of 1 minus 3 raised to x divided by 1 plus 3 raised to x. Now, evaluating the limit of the function, guys, as x approaches 0. So, therefore, we have 1 minus 3 raised to 0 divided by 1 plus 3 raised to 0. So, we have 1 minus 1 divided by 1 plus 1. We have 0 over 2. Any number multiplied or divided by 0 is always equal to 0. Okay? So, that is for our limits for our exponent. So, another number that I would want to introduce is, of course, our Euler. Okay? Siyempre, kasali din to. Hindi talaga maiwasan si Euler. Yan. Using our principle of and theorems on our Euler, okay, and our limits of exponential function. So let's use this formula, this example for further verification and para maturo ko na rin kung anong gamit ng formula na yon. Okay? So we have the limit of e raised to x minus 1 divided by x e raised to x plus x as x approaches 0. Definitely, guys, if you would directly substitute 0 into this, we'll have a value of e raised to 0 minus 1 divided by 0 e raised to 0 plus 0. Okay? Wherein we have 1 minus 1 all over 0 plus 0 equals 0 divided by 0, which is equal to indeterminate. Okay? Indeterminate. Ayan. So, indeterminate siya. So, gawan natin ang paraan in order to have or in order to define the function. Actually, you can directly substitute the value of x approximately equal to 0 for this one. Okay? But as I have said, pag free form yung binigay sa inyo, dapat you would use the mathematical equation. Okay? So, from this, we have e raised to 2x minus 1 all over x e raised to x plus 1. So, take note that e raised to x can be rewritten into e raised to x squared, tama? Katulad ng ginawa natin. E raised to x squared is just equal to our e raised to x multiplied by e raised to x. Okay, wherein we have e raised to x x plus x, which is equal to e raised to 2x, so it can be rewritten into e raised to x squared. Right? So, minus 1. And then, pag minanipulate pa natin yung formula sa baba, so therefore, we may say that you can factor out your x, so we have a value of x multiplied by e raised to x plus 1. Okay? So, knowing this, we can say that this numerator can be further enhanced or can be further simplified. Not simplified naman, can be factored out. Okay? By our a squared plus a squared minus b squared, which is equal to a plus b multiplied by a minus b formula of our special product. Okay? So, therefore, we'll have a value of e raised to x plus 1 multiplied by e raised to x minus 1 divided by x multiplied by e raised to x plus 1. So, after this, we will cancel out your e raised to x plus 1 because it is just equal to positive 1, diba? Any number divided by itself is equal to 1. So, we'll have a value of e raised to x minus 1 divided by x. Okay? So, from this, guys, kunin natin yung limit mo. So, getting this limit as x approaches 0, so we'll have a value of, so pag kinuha mo directly yung value niyan, so e raised to 0 minus 1 over x is 0, is indeterminate. But take note guys that the function of this one is equal to 1. Okay? So 1 yan. Sir, bakit ganun? Okay. So, try mo mag-substitute ng value na malapit sa x. Okay, let's say x is approximately equal to 0.0000001, or let's say 1 times 10 raised to negative 8. You will see that the value of this one is equal to 1. Okay, so it is indeterminate. Ayan. So that is our example number 3 for exponential functions. Let's have the limit of x cubed plus 1 divided by x squared minus 2x plus 2 plus x squared minus 1 divided by x plus 1 raised to 1 over x as x approaches 0. Okay, so probably if we would substitute the value directly to our 1 over x, so undefined na agad yung nasa taas. Okay, so ang gusto natin mangyari guys is we have this identity. Okay, so we can use any of this identity sa tatlong to. Okay, limit identities. Okay, so probably since we will have a value of x approximate as x approaches 0, so probably guys we may say that pwede natin gamitin to. So let's try to turn that example into this equation. Okay, so paano natin gagawin yan? So yung 1 raised to x pa lang halata na, tama. So dito na lang sa pangalawa kung paano sa baba dito sa loob ng ating parenthesis kung paano natin siya i-manipulate. So how would we manipulate this? So for me, yung diskarte ko dyan, syempre mas makomplikado yung nasa baba. So yung nasa baba muna, hayaan ko muna sa taas. X cubed plus 1. Okay, so maybe it would hint, magkakaroon ako ng hint kung paano ito solve. Okay, so pag nag-substitute ako ng 0 sa mga values ko, meron kang 0 minus 0 plus 2 minus 1, so magkakaroon ako ng value na positive 1. Okay, tama ba? So positive 1 siguro pag nag-substitute ako ng value ng 0. Okay, so therefore let's say paano kaya pag ito muna. Okay, so hindi ko muna gagalawin to. So step by step tayo. So we have x squared minus 2x plus 2, so plus x plus 1 multiplied by x minus 1. Okay, so special product divided by x plus 1. Okay, so from this you can already see that x plus 1 divided by x plus 1 is equal to 1. So kakaroon ko ng ganyan, and then of course I will have x cubed plus 1 divided by x squared minus 2x plus 2 plus x minus 1. Okay, huwag niyong kakalimutan yung parenthesis niyo na naman. Okay, so by further manipulation of the equation, we will have a value of x cubed plus 1 divided by x squared negative 2x negative 2x plus x. So we'll have a value of negative x. Okay, negative 2 minus 1, so negative x. So 2 minus negative 1 is equal to positive 1. Right, so yun yung mga sagot. So from this, how about if hindi na to pwedeng i-manipulate, diba? Hindi na natin siya pwedeng i-factor. So nasa simplest form na yung denominator nyo. Let's try to manipulate our numerator. So ano ba yung pwede natin gawin sa numerator natin? So take note that your numerator can be solved using our special product, or our special product, okay, wherein we have a cube plus b cube, which is equal to a plus b multiplied by a squared minus ab plus b squared. Okay, so in this equation, our a is equal to 1, our x, and our b is equal to 1. Okay, so therefore we will have a value of x plus 1 multiplied by our x squared minus x plus 1 divided by x squared minus x plus 1. Okay, so from this, you will see that we would come to an solution that the limit of x plus 1 raised to 1 over x as x approaches 0. Okay, so probably pag hindi mo alam yung theorem na yan, wala kang sagot. Okay, pero pag ang gagawin mo, magsasubstitute ka ng value na malapit sa 0. Let's say a is approximately equal to 0, so that the 0 itself. Okay, so therefore magkakaroon ka ng sagot na equal to 2.71, which is e. Okay, so pag hindi mo alam yung theorem na to, but probably if you would know this theorem, you will see that you would quickly have the limit of this theorem, which is basically equal to our e. Okay, so let's have this limit of x squared minus 1 multiplied by x squared plus 2x plus 1 divided by x raised to 4 plus x raised to 3 minus x squared minus x raised to x as x approaches infinity. Okay, so if anything that is approaches infinity, as I have said guys, magde-divide ka lang agad ng pinakamataas na equation na variable, ng exponent na variable. But technically guys, in this situation, you cannot use that, right? So because any number raised to infinity, any number raised to infinity ka. Okay, so therefore ang pinakamagandang gawin is probably know the theorem, wherein the limit of 1 plus 1 over x as x approaches infinity is equal to raised to x is equal to e. Okay, so yan yung identity na pinakamaganda gamitin. Okay, so you should know how to manipulate the equation into an equation equal to that equation. Okay, para makakuha ka ng a definite answer that is correct. Pero pag hindi mo alam, probably mahirapan ka. You cannot prove that this equation is equal to this equation. Okay, or to have that limit equal to e. So therefore, para hindi ka na magdalawang isip pa, ang gawin natin, let us manipulate the equation above. Okay, but before manipulating, always remember that before manipulating any long equation, you must have a plan. Okay, so yung plano ko ngayon is kumuha ng equation na ganito. Pero paano? Pwede kong i-add to para magkaroon ako ng definite na numerator at denominator, x plus 1 divided by x, tama? So therefore, from this, nakakuha ko ng definite plan. So before acting out, so dapat yung sa baba muna, try ko munang i-manipulate yung nasa baba or yung nasa taas. So nasa taas yung unahin ko. So take note that x squared minus 1 can be rewritten into x minus 1 multiplied by x plus 1. Okay, and also our x squared plus 2x plus 1 can be rewrite as x plus 1 squared. Okay, from our special products divided by, so from this pwede kong sabihin na pwede kong i-factor out yung x, di ba? Pag pinactor out ko yung x, mayroon akong value na x multiplied by x cubed plus x squared minus x minus 1. Ayan, di ba? So from that, I can already devise my plan that I can have this equation from this. Okay, so therefore I may say that this x minus 1 multiplied by the x plus 1 squared is equal to this equation. But wala pa akong proof. So therefore, ipo-prove natin siya. It's either i-expand mo to at i-multiply mo to or ifa-factor mo to. Okay? So I will go to factoring. So parehas lang yun, no? Pwede mo lang gawin yun. Pero gusto ko siyang i-factor. So factoring out my x plus 1 all over x from the equation, I will have x minus 1 multiplied by x plus 1 squared. So divided by, so take note guys na ito pwede ka lang pa mag-group dito, factoring by grouping kumbaga. Okay, so group ko to at group ko to. So by grouping that equation, I can have a value equal to x, okay, x multiplied by x. Pag nilabas ko yung x squared dyan, so meron kang value ng x squared divided by x cube is equal to x. X squared divided by x squared is equal to 1. So that is my first grouping. Minus negative 1. So factor out mo yung negative 1. So minus x plus 1. Okay? So pag finactor out ko yung x minus x plus 1 ngayon, kasi common sila, magkakaroon ko ng equation na x plus 1 multiplied by x squared minus 1. Tama ba? So from this, I may say that this can be factorable into x plus 1 multiplied by x minus 1. Okay? So therefore, we'll have a value of x plus 1. So copy ko lang to. Multiplied by, itong factor nito, x plus 1 multiplied by x minus 1. Okay? So from this, x plus 1 multiplied by x plus 1 is equal to x plus 1 squared. So therefore, 1 to. Okay? And also, x minus 1 divided by x minus 1 is equal to 1. So therefore, I have verified that I have a factor of, or simplified value of this equation into x plus 1 all over x, which can be rewritten also into x divided by x plus 1 over x, wherein x divided by x is equal to 1. So therefore 1 plus 1 over x. So getting the limit of this one, getting the limit of 1 plus 1 over x as x raised to x, as x approaches infinity, is equal to e. Okay? Oh, sorry ka pa. Ang first na ginawa natin, ina-identify natin kung anong pwedeng gawin. So from this, tinanay kong i-expand to, and then nagkaroon ako ng equation na ganito. And then after that, tinignan ko kung ano yung nasa loob ng exponent ng x, kung pwede ko siyang i-simplify into x plus 1 solution over x. And then after that, kinuha natin yung value nyo, which is simplified into this. And then after simplification, we'll see, or we will notice that we have a value of equal to e. Ayan. From our theorem. Ito yung theorem natin. Ayan. So never forget about the theorems because it would help you. Okay? Kung baga, pag madilim na yung mundo mo sa equation na to, yung theorem na yon yung para magiging guiding light mo or your objective mo para ma-solve mo yung equation. Okay? So take note that pwede nating i-combine lahat ng limits na yan. Okay? So katulad nito, pwede kong pag-combine yung equivalent ng limit ng x approaches 0 kasi pareha silang limit. Okay? So therefore, pwede nating limit of this one multiplied by this one, okay, which is equal to ilapa. Di ba? Pag kinuha mo yung product nilang dalawa, e ang sagot niya, di ba? Because e number multiplied by 1 is equal to that number itself. So para mga ganun, so therefore, be mindful on solving the problems. Okay, and also, of course, you should master the different theorems involving these equations. Ayan. So that is our lecture for our logarithmic and our exponential function. The limit of our exponential function. The limit of logarithmic function. This theorem, the limit of logarithmic function can be stated as L at L is greater than 0. Therefore, the limit of f of x as x approaches a is equal to L. So, definition of limit tayo. We may say that the limit of our ln of x, ln of f of x as x approaches a is equal to ln of L, meaning we can use the limit as ln of the limit of f of x. So, pwede mo lang pang ipasok yung limit sa ln natin. Okay? So, therefore, we'll have a value of L. Suppose na meron tayong, let's say, the limit of ln of a of x as x approaches a can be written as the limit ln the limit of f of x, which is equal to ln the limit of x as x approaches a is equal to ln of a. Second theorem is the limit of log of f of x to the base b as x approaches a can be written as log of the limit of f of x as x approaches b. So therefore, we may say that if we have a function equal to x, so therefore it can be demonstrated as log of the limit of x as x approaches a, so to the base b to. So therefore, we'll have a value of log of a. Okay? So kukunin mo lang yung limit ng logarithm ng function na yan. Okay? And then you may also apply the different rules of our logarithm in solving the equation or modify the equation into a simpler or complicated form or more complicated form that would make you get or have a value of L. Okay? So take note that our value of A or the value of the limit must be greater than 0. Okay? Because log of 0 is undefined. Okay? So in order for you to appreciate the theorem more, so let's have some example. Yung first example natin is the limit of ln of x as x approaches e squared plus the limit of log of 100 raised to x to the base 2 minus the limit of log of x plus 1 to the base 5 as x approaches 24. So from this, there are three limits that we would use. So pwede lang ba to? So let us evaluate the limit. So if you would substitute the values directly, so define siya, di ba? Define yung limit natin. So therefore, we may have the limit of ln of e squared. So tatanggalin na natin, no? Kasi kukunin na natin agad yung limit. Plus logarithm of 100 squared minus logarithm of 25. Okay? So, from my lecture in the properties of logarithm, so therefore, pwede natin i-apply dito yung power rule natin. Okay? So, therefore, this can be evaluated, yung power rule natin and yung identity na log of b to the base b is always equal to 1. Okay? So, paano nangyari yan? Atong identity na to. Okay? So, therefore, gamitin natin yung identity na yan. So, paano natin magagamit yan? Because probably, so take note that this is at base 5. Okay? So, therefore, pwede natin sabihin na we have to ln e plus log of 10 squared, so squared, okay, multiplied by 2 minus log of 5 squared to the base 5. Okay, so this is a common logarithm, meaning wala siyang base, so therefore it is understood that it is at base 10. Okay, and ln of t can be rewritten as log of e to the base e. Okay, so therefore we will have a value of 2 multiplied by 1 plus 2 squared, 2 multiplied by 2 is equal to 4, log of 10 to the base 10 is equal to 1 minus 2 multiplied by 1. Okay, gagamitin din natin yung power rule natin. Okay, so from this we'll have a value equal to 2 plus 4 minus 2, so we have 0. So for our second example, so let's have the limit of negative 3 ln of e raised to x as x approaches 8 plus the limit of 4 ln of 3 raised to x as x approaches 2 plus log of x squared minus 7 divided by x minus 7 as x approaches 9. Okay, so from this we can say that if you directly substitute the values, there is a definite value, hindi siya defined. Okay, so therefore pwede natin siyang sagutan agad. So therefore we will have a value of the limit of negative 3 ln of e raised to x of o plus limit of as x approaches 8 plus the limit of 4 ln 3 raised to x as x approaches 2 plus log of x squared minus 7 divided by x minus 7 as x approaches 9. So therefore pwede natin gawin ito, substitute natin agad. So negative 3 ln of e raised to 8 plus the plus 4 ln of 3 squared plus logarithm of, so from this 9 to, okay, pwede mo lang pa siyang substitute agad kasi 7 naman to, or factor mo to, or hindi na, substitute natin agad yung 9. So we have the logarithm of 81 minus 7 divided by 9 minus 7. Okay, so therefore from this we'll have a value of negative 3 multiplied by 8 kasi nga ln is just 1. Okay, plus we have 8. So power rule natin, 8 ln of 3 plus the logarithm of 81 minus 7 divided by 9 minus 7. To take note, logarithm constant yan. So we have a value of log 37. Okay? So therefore, we'll have negative 24 plus 8 ln of 3 plus log 37. Okay? So I will accept that answer already. Or pwede nyong kunin yung value nyan. So you have negative 24 plus 8 ln of 3 plus log 37, which is equal to negative 13.6425. 29. Okay. So let's have our example number 3. Okay. So if we have the limit of ln of our x plus 2 multiplied by x squared plus 2x plus 4 divided by x minus 2 plus ln of x minus 2 multiplied by x squared minus 2x plus 4 divided by x plus 2 minus ln of x squared plus 2x plus 4 divided by 3x minus ln of x squared minus 2x plus 1. So let's have this example. 2x plus 4, sorry. Okay. As the limit of x approaches positive 2. Para hindi natin direktang may substitute yung value ng positive dyan. Okay. So how will you solve it? So probably most of you will cancel out your x plus 2. Multiply yung x plus 2 multiplied by x squared plus 2x plus 4, and also the other one, and also our third equation. But the best thing to do here is to use the property of log, wherein we have ln of m plus ln of x plus ln of y, which is the product rule, is equal to ln xy, and also ln of x minus ln of y can be written as ln x over y. Okay. From this, we can have the idea on how to solve the problem. Okay. So therefore, let us write it into this form. So pwede nating i-write to into ln of, so plus to, so mag-multiply sila, x plus 2 multiplied by x squared plus 2x plus 4, so divided by x minus 2 multiplied by x minus 2 multiplied by x squared minus 2x plus 4 divided by x plus 2. Okay, So, divided by, kasi subtract. Okay? So, pag nilagyan mo ng bracket to, so mag-multiply yung dalawa, tapos mag-divide sila sa combination ng ln ng dalawang term natin na to. Okay? So, therefore, from that, we'll have an equation equal to x squared plus 2x plus 4 divided by 3x multiplied by x squared minus 2x plus 4 divided by 1. Okay. So, from this, you can see that we can have the value of x plus 2 divided by x plus is equal to 1. X minus 2 divided by x minus is equal to 1. And of course, x squared minus 2x plus 4 is equal to 1. And x squared plus 2x plus 4 is equal to 1. So therefore, we'll have a value of ln of 1 over 1 divided by 1 over 3x. Okay? So from this, we can get the limit of 3x or ln 3x as x approaches to. So which is equal to ln limit of 3x as x approaches to is equal to 3 multiplied by 2 is equal to 6. So for our fourth example, if we have the limit of ln of x divided by log of x as x approaches 1. So if you would directly substitute the value, take note that a or x, which is your x, must be equal to 1. Okay? Because we will have a value equal to 0. Diba? So if mag-substitute ng value dyan, so ln of 1 divided by log of 1 is always equal to 0. So 0 divided by 0. From our theorem that any value or kahit anong base mo, basta may 1 ka, it is always equal to 0. Okay? So we will have a value of 0 divided by 0, which is indeterminate in nature, diba? So ang gagawin natin dyan is that since it is indeterminate, let us solve the equation in the sense that we have similar ln and similar log. Because take note that you cannot apply the different properties of our logarithm if we have different base. So dapat parehas yung base nila. So objective, pag ganito mga sitwasyon, kailangan mo ng same base. Okay? So dyan mapasok yung change of base natin that I have solved in the logarithm of function discussion. Okay? Logarithm function discussion. Wherein, pag hindi nyo na maalala, so gawin natin. So we all know, let's have a function of L or your y. Okay? Yung output variable natin. Y is equal to ln of x. So, ang gusto kong gawin is i-transfer ko tong ln of x into log. Okay? So, we have ln of x. So, we all know that ln of x can be written as log of x to the base e. Ayan, diba? So, pag kinuha natin yung, pag-release natin to, so e raised to y is equal to e raised to log e of x. So, log of x to the base e. So, this is a property of logarithm wherein we can say that e raised to y is equal to x. Okay? So, ito yan. Pag parehas yung base na raise mo, yung magiging sagot nito is yung value na gusto mong kunin yung logarithm, which is your x. Okay? Next is, from this point, I would like to get the logarithm of this into log 10. Okay? Yung common logarithm naman natin yung gusto kong gawin. So, after mong erase yan, kunin mo yung log nilang dalawa. Log e raised to y is equal to log of x. So, parang nag-solve ka ng equation kung anong gagawin mo sa left side, dapat gawin mo rin sa right side. Kasi nga, ang kung nun, magiging 1, di ba? Parang nag-multiply ka lang ng 1. Okay, so from this, you will have a value of y log of e, which is equal to log of x. But take note that your y was initiated as ln of x. So therefore, ln of x multiplied by log of e is equal to log of x. Okay, so from this standpoint, we may say that ln of x can be written into log of x divided by log of e. Okay, so log ng variable divided by log ng base. Okay, so ganun yung analogy niya. Log of variable over log of base. Lagi yan. Okay, so therefore, from this situation, I may now say that my ln x was defined or can be transformed into this equation. So therefore, by further manipulation of this equation, we'll have a value of ln of x divided by our log of x. But our ln of x was initiated a while ago as log of x divided by log of e. So divided by our log of x, which is equal to divided by our log of x. Ito. Okay, so therefore, from this, we can say that the value of this one can be written as log of x divided by log of e multiplied by 1 all over log of x. So cancelling out your log of x, we have the value equal to 1 over log of e. Okay, so therefore, from this, we may say that the limit of 1 over log of e as x approaches 1 is equal to 1 all over log of e. Okay, so for our fifth example, so let's have ln of x plus 2 divided by log of x plus 2. So limit niyan, x approaches negative 1. Pag nag-substitute ka ng value agad, you will have a value of 0 divided by 0, which is equal to indeterminate. Ayan, so indeterminate yan. So ngayon naman, ang gusto kong change of base, itong log natin. Okay, so gusto ko siyang gawing ln. Okay, so take note that y is equal to log of x plus 2. Okay, so getting the log of x plus 2, so pag kunin natin yung log nya, take note that it has a base 10 common logarithm. So therefore, raise natin to, we have 10 raised to y is equal to 10 raised to log of x plus 2 to the base 10. Okay, so therefore, from that standpoint, we will see that you have 10 raised to y is equal to x plus 2. Okay, next is kunin natin yung ln nya. Okay, so getting the ln of these values, so you'll have y ln of 10 is equal to ln of x plus 2. Okay, so from that, we may say that my y is equal to log of 10 log of x plus 2 to the base 10. So we'll have log of x plus 2 to the base 10, which is equal to ln of x plus 2. Ayan. So therefore, we will have a value of y, no? So y multiplied by our ln 10. Okay, so therefore ln 10 log of x plus 2 can be written as ln of x plus 2 divided by ln of 10. Okay, so from this we may say that the limit of ln of x plus 2, so ito yun, so divided by ln of x plus 2 over ln of 10 as x approaches negative 1 can be solved as, so cancel to kasi 1 lang yan. We'll have a limit of ln of 10 as x approaches negative 1, okay, which is equal to constant yan, so therefore any limit to the constant is equal to ln, is equal to the constant itself, which is equal to ln. Okay,